We're back here with SwamiLee's Sports Talk. You may have noticed that my companion for the day is not Mike. Doesn't look like Mike either. We had to, make things a little more. How do I word it? Optically attractive, we'll say. But don't worry, Mike will be back. Jill, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as a sports fan?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jill. I live in Philadelphia. I live in an area called Fishtown. Called Philly my home now for about 14 years, and big Eagles fan. Really kind of transitioned over my lifetime from not kind of being into sports to really kind of being very into sports. So much so that I went to London a couple of years ago when the Eagles played there to see them, and was planning on going to a lot of games this year, but well, that didn't happen. And now it's cold. I'm a fair weather fan, so I miss tailgating. I miss the whole environment down there at the lake, but just hoping to get through 2020 as best we can and look to the 2021 season for all the fun and excitement around it.
Excellent. Well, that's what we're here for. Is we want the female perspective because, again, we for years have a couple of guys, sometimes three guys, just rambling on about what they like and don't like about sports. So we figure let's get the female perspective at the same time. Now, Jill, I know you have suffered through, or at least partially suffered through that game last night. I guess even with a win, I don't think it was something to be too proud of. But at the end of the day, a win is a win. Give me an overview, maybe your feelings from beginning to end of that game.
Yeah, so going into the game, there was a lot of hype around the city that this was going to be a definite win for us. We needed it. The fans really kind of needed it, especially with everything going on right now. In the current climate. And the things that have been happening in the city, we really kind of need something to get behind, so to say, that's a positive thing. And so, going into the game, I had high hopes for our boys. And, like you said, a win is a win, but it was a painful win. And during the fourth quarter, especially, I remember I was on the phone with someone and I said, I don't know, I think they're going to throw this game away. And, you just kind of get to the point where you have like these ups and downs. And lately it's been during the fourth quarter of these games, and you run the whole gamut of emotions. And but in the end, I'm glad they won. I had a few friends that went to the game last night and froze their butts off. I don't even know, they're crazy. So, but it's good to at least kind of pull a win, especially from the team that everyone loves to hate.
I hear you. What about Carson Wentz last night?
I like Wentz, and I know sometimes I kind of fall into the minority with that. I try and pick my battles with him. When he gets going on Instagram and he posts a lot of pictures with his family and his dogs, and I'm like, you should really kind of be focused on being in the gym and staying healthy. I'm so afraid to say this, and I can't believe I'm going to say this aloud, and I pray to God I don't jinx him, but I can't believe he hasn't been hurt yet. So, and I really kind of expected it because, he's just been hurt for so long, all the time, every season. And so I'm really glad to see him kind of pushing through, and I'm hopeful that maybe all the times that I razz him on Instagram and tell him to get in the gym, that maybe he took my advice finally. I don't know. So we'll see.
So what are your thoughts on replacing Wentz with Jalen Hurts?
I don't know. I don't really pay too close attention to Hurts, but I can't remember what game it was when he played, and then I saw him on the sideline, and I don't know. I don't know if I like him. The jury's still out. He seemed to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I don't think that that's what's going to win games for us in Philadelphia. I think we need someone that's got a better attitude about the game, and so I'm so I can't really say for sure. I need more time to think that one over.
Gotcha. So what are your feelings on the offense in general? I mean, you looking at a receiving core that was depleted a couple games ago, and now you have Travis Fulgham, I believe it's pronounced, who is doing unbelievable, and believe me, I don't believe it. And you have that other kid, Rieger, who had that almost had that catch, I think, in the end zone, I believe it was. He almost had one. Like him, hate him, confident, not confident?
Well, the joke is that, our team is our offense is basically comprised of Wentz, Scott, and three guys that we picked up at Wawa. And I basically feel like anymore that's, we don't know. A lot of people like, I don't know everyone's name anymore. It's, gone are the days when I would like see someone and I would know right away who it was. Now I'm kind of like, oh, he's good. And, you get excited. You're like, all right, good job. I'll get your name. Just give me a little time. So, but it's, listen, you just got to get out there. We got to get out there and win. Kelsey, I don't know what kind of year he's been having. He's kind of been up and down, for the most part from what I've been seeing. So, I just kind of really, this year's hard. I think every team, if we look at it in our division, isn't really doing so great. So
Very
this
true.
is kind of like, I hate to say it, but I feel like it's a throwaway year in a way. And, funny enough, I was actually planning to go to the San Francisco game. And, then when everything happened, I was like, oh, I don't really want to go. I don't think I'll enjoy it as much. So I'm kind of looking at this year as surviving this season and, praying that no one else gets seriously injured and then maybe coming back next year and really kind of kicking everyone's butts. So I don't know.
Well, last question about the game. If the Cowboys had started almost anybody else at quarterback, myself included, do you think the Eagles win? Because that kid last night, even though his numbers weren't horrible, if you watch the game, which of course you did, and I saw a lot of that game, it was not pretty.
No.
His performance was not pretty. Do you think if another quarterback had been in there, it could have been a little uglier?
Probably. I have to be honest with you. I watched the Cowboys' first game of the season, and I was like, wow, they're really playing with heart this year, and I was kind of like taken aback by that, and so I thought, that as much as I despise them, I thought, they might have a pretty good year, and then they have seemingly fell apart from there. So I don't know if you could just blame one person, but the game, was ugly. It was just an ugly game. It just I can't answer that. I have to be honest. I don't even know, who could have done a better job. But we're really, it was just two bad teams against each other, pretty much.
I'm with you on that. So bottom line is they won the game. It was not an attractive game by any means, but at the end of the day, the win is all that matters, of course. And you're looking at a team that, the Giants are terrible. The Washington football team is terrible. The Cowboys, people don't even think they're going to win another game. I personally think the Cowboys are going to end up with 4 or 5 wins this year by accident, but I could be wrong. Hopefully when the Steelers play the Cowboys next week, it's like a 48-3 game. My hopes for the Steelers. But we'll see what happens. But I can tell you this much with the utmost confidence, barring half the Eagles team come down with COVID, I believe that they are going to win the division with probably a 7-8-1 record. Something to be proud of, I'm guessing. Right? Take your wins any way you can get them.
Exactly.
Well, Jill, the second part of the show, I would like to discuss something else with you. And what that is, let's be honest. Chicks don't like sports. Chicks just like to stare at the butts of players and winners. I know you've heard that before. I know you've been to games, and I know you've looked around and seen guys that are probably thinking that about you. Okay? Yeah. If you had 30 seconds to say to a guy who thinks that the only reason you like sports is to stare at the players' butts, what would you say?
Well, I think that's kind of rather funny because usually football players don't have the best butts. So, let's be honest there. I think a lot of what I love so much about the Eagles, especially, and I love all Philadelphia sports, is just the feeling that you get when you go down to the stadium and you're surrounded by fans, and more than anything, they just want to see the team win. And they get behind you, they get behind the team through thick and thin. And, as much as people like to razz on Eagles fans, they really are the best. They hate to love you and love to hate you at times. But that's kind of what brings me in every time, is the fact that it's just fun. It's fun to go down to the stadium. It's fun to watch a game. It's fun to be in that atmosphere. And, you really kind of can't replicate that in everyday life, that feeling that you get. And so for me, it's the excitement, it's the anticipation, it's being with friends, it's, getting behind a team and really kind of just going out there and really enjoying it all. And so I know that there's probably a lot of women that, kind of like to look at the players. And let me tell you, there's a couple of hot coaches. I'm going to have to be really honest with you, but
you're showing your age now, Jill, by saying that. Okay. I hate to tell you, but
I know. Well, you can't really see the players. They have helmets on, so it's not the same thing. So, but yeah, so, that's kind of my take on it. Now, again, not everyone's going to agree with me. I am the type of fan that actually does go to games. And if I, don't go to a game for any reason, I don't have season tickets, never really had interest in getting them. A lot of friends have extra tickets and give me one, or I get them through a promotion or something like that. So that's kind of why I don't have season tickets. But I still go down. Last year I went down to every single home game and tailgated, probably up until the bitter end when it was pretty cold. And then I was like, I just can't do it in the super cold weather. But we would go into Xfinity and watch the game there. Spent a lot of time sitting at Bully's at the bar there. Really missed that a lot. And so, it's all part of the fun of being an Eagles fan, for sure.
Do you know why I don't like to tailgate? There's only one reason I'm not a fan of tailgating. Do you want to take a guess what that reason is? True story, by the way.
I don't know. With you, it could be any number of things.
I'm sure you'll immediately recognize this. I will not use Johnny on the spot unless there's a dire emergency. So the first time I have to go, tailgating is over. True story.
That is so funny. That's why you park near Xfinity, and then you go in and use the bathroom in there, and then you can go in and out.
Okay. Well, again, being gone for the last few years and not being an Eagles fan, I don't usually go to obviously the Eagles games, but in the past I've tailgated with some people, and again, first time I had to go, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, we're running out of time. I want to tell you one quick story about this. You don't know this one. This is about chicks going to games. Okay.
Oh,
yes, after my freshman year of college, I took a girl that I liked and her roommate to a Orioles Milwaukee Brewers baseball game. And we're sitting in the right field bleachers, right, literally the first row. So the right fielder was like in plain view of us. And the girl that I liked had the misfortune of saying loud enough to her roommate, "He's got a cute butt."
Yeah.
Now, the player was Rob Deere. He was a power-hitting outfielder. He probably did have a cute butt. Not that I'm a good butt, evaluator of males, but he probably did. And mistake for her and a mistake for me, because I would then start yelling. This is a true story. I start yelling out there, "Hey, Rob, she thinks you have a cute butt."
Oh, boy.
Needless to say, that relationship never happened.
Yeah. Not surprised by that one bit, Lee.
Well, please note, this isn't SwamiLee's Picks Up Chicks. This is SwamiLee's Sports Talk.
That's a show I want to listen to, though.
Oh, that would be... Well, you remember, I'm the one that discovered the fact that Fonzie never scored. So,
yeah.
Remember, I have some knowledge that kind of gets lost. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, Jill. You are in the premiere viewing. This is it. This is the first episode of the new SwamiLee's Sports Talk, which will be a weekly, if not twice a week show with various special guests. Mike will be back, as I said. Our next episode, he'll be back. I know you guys miss him. And I don't know if Jill's going to want to join us again, but she's certainly invited to join us again. It will hopefully help increase our viewership. Because believe me and Mike aren't helping with that. Maybe if it was a podcast, we'd have more success from that perspective. But again, thanks again for joining us, Jill.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate you having me, and I'll be glad to come back. Maybe I can bring some friends next time.
That sounds like a good one. Will you have yourself a great time? We'll look forward to seeing you soon. Guys, thanks again for joining us here at SwamiLee's Sports Talk, where you never know what we're going to talk about. And we'll see you soon. Good night, all.
Bye-bye.